Welcome to the Above the Yellow Line live stream. This time it's a Wednesday night, so happy Wednesday. Happy middle of the week. Joined, of course, by Dom Joseph in his M&M's Memorial Day get up. How are you doing,
Red, white,
bud?
and blue. Yes,
Yeah.
this is the go-to now. I'm glad I got this outfit, but I don't know if I can do it again this year. I did it last year. I don't know if I can keep doing it because
Oh
all the
no.
pictures are just going to blend in.
Yeah, see that's true. But that means you have to like top this outfit in some
Yeah,
way next year
I'll
or
find a
this
way.
year.
Yeah, I
You'll
mean,
find a
I've
way.
I've got some options.
It's also worth noting, isn't that hat custom, right?
Yes,
Yes?
this is
Yeah,
one of
okay.
them.
Yeah, so he went all out on the fit. Hat is
Yeah.
custom. Yeah, this year I'll have my Blaney championship jacket just because, won the race last year. Why not?
Ooh,
Yeah. Yeah, I brought it
because you can,
because I can. That's right. I'm
because you
excited.
can, because your drive is a champion.
Exactly. So I gotta
Yeah,
rep the champ. So I also got
for
like my
sure.
day shirt that I'm bringing to like I've got all the fits. Oh, and hold on a second. Hold on a second. Wait a second. Hold on. Wait a second. Wait a second. Wait a second. Hold on. Hold on. He's waiting. He's waiting. Okay, and I also got this hat. So I'm very excited about it.
Oh, there you go. The old, what's that? Got milk Kellogg's. Nice. So that's like
Yeah.
01 to 03. Heck yeah,
Yeah.
that's a nice one.
So very excited about that. So we have the fits worked out for this weekend. Good to see you all in the chat. Alex, John, Adam, everybody, thanks for tuning in. Obviously, as you can see, I'm traveling, so my hands might disappear every now and then into the background. So apologies, but we're making it work. But again, good to see
Deal
you
with it.
all. Yeah, they might just disappear. It's totally fine. But today's show, not a whole lot of NASCAR news this Wednesday. We have some big NASCAR news regarding some penalties, which we have a ton of opinions about. I am sure, of course, as you all probably do as well. Some Hall of Fame stuff, but let's start off at least kind of with that penalty, but with the All-Star race at North Wilkesboro, the second running of the All-Star race at North Wilkesboro for this Cup Series group. Dom, what'd you think about it? How'd you feel about that?
So Hall of Fame. Um, I get it. I really do. I mean, Ricky Rudd. The one thing that stands out to me with Ricky is he went 16 straight years with at least one win. Um, I think that's one thing for sure that stands out. Like that's really, really impressive. The only other people that have gone on streaks like that, I would say, are Richard Petty and Kyle Busch. I don't even think Jeff Gordon was able to keep a streak that long. So just super impressive. No matter what the scenarios are and whatnot. I mean, his last win in that streak was Martinsville, 1998, and he had no coolant in his car at all, and he burnt to a crisp in that race car, and they had to pull him out because he was suffering from heat exhaustion. So,
Yeah.
dude's a fighter, great racer, was around for a very long time, very long tenured driver that was competitive for a good amount of that. And then Carl Edwards. I was personally hoping they would hold off on him for a few years.
Yeah.
Nothing against him,
Yeah.
but I he's a guy that you can keep off the ballot for a little bit because of how young he is relative to some of the others. But 28 career wins, won the Coca-Cola 600, won the All-Star race, won the Southern 500. So he's won the crown jewels. Has been in two insanely competitive championship runs, or actually three. 2008 was a good one too, other than 16 and of course the tie in 2011. So it was inevitable Edwards was going to get in. I'm not denying that.
Right.
Um,
It's just a matter of when.
yeah. So it is cool to see though, because he is a big fan favorite. Mainly because of how he departed so abruptly, and people realized, man, we should have really respected what we had while we had it.
Yeah.
But and then Ralph Moody, of course,
Oh yeah.
good race car driver turned exceptional car owner. 96 wins Holman Moody had as a race team, so that's a great trio of NASCAR stars to go into the Hall of Fame, whether being a race car driver or a driver owner.
And then, of course, Dr. Sicking getting the Landmark Award, which is a pretty big deal. I mean, basically created the
Founder of the
safer
safer
barrier,
barrier.
helped create
Yep.
it. Yeah. So, and that's a huge, obviously, add to NASCAR safety measures. So, that was a given in my book when looking at the roster of who could be inducted in the class of 2025 and who could have gotten the Landmark Award. So, overall, very happy with who got inducted. I will agree with you. I wanted Carl Edwards in the NASCAR Hall of Fame. But compared to everyone else on that list, I felt like he could have waited maybe a few more years to get somebody else in. I thought it was interesting. Ricky Rudd made some comments. Toby Christie actually got to interview him after the nominations and the winners of those nominations were announced, where he was like, I kind of held off on going to NASCAR events a little bit, but now that I'm, inducted in the Hall of Fame and stuff like that, I'll, really consider and really want to go back to the track and be present. But he's been pretty absent from NASCAR in the past many years, I would say the past few years, especially.
Oh yeah.
So I'm glad that he's finally getting recognized for his career and his achievements and everything that he's done. But yeah, no, I think the Hall of Fame group this year, pretty stellar.
Yeah, I think it's cool their styles because it's Ralph Moody was a pioneer that really took off as a team owner and showed when all the pieces come together, you can own a great team. And then Carl Edwards is the reserved but also flashy kind of driver. Yeah, he would be the super nice guy in the media center, easy to walk up to, and then he'd kick your butt on the racetrack and backflip out of his race car to remind you that he just won. And then Ricky Rudd was just tough as nails. So it's three really cool personalities going into the hall.
Yeah, it's a good class. I'm excited about it. But we'll move on. That was just some fun news this week. Of course, the induction ceremony happens in a few months. I believe it's January when it happens, typically.
Mm-hmm.
January. I think so. Yeah. Gotcha. So we'll have to wait for them to officially get their jackets and stuff, but pretty exciting to see that they will be the class of 2025. Let's talk about North Wilkesboro. I am going to turn this background off because I cannot stand that it's going in and out. It's bothering me this whole show. You're going to see the background. Look at me.
Oh my goodness. How Portugal? This is America.
This is the current background that we have for right now. But anywho, all right. So the All-Star race at North Wilkesboro, besides the obvious, and we'll get to that in a second, what did you think about it? Let's talk about the tires in particular. Of course, we had that prime tire, that softer tire, which was the optional tire. I'm just going to call it the soft tire. And then we had those wet weather tires. But let's talk about the difference that we saw between the hard tire and the soft tire.
Well,
were you disappointed as I was?
Wasn't a difference, but I think that's mainly because of track temperature. Listening to Denny Hamlin's podcast, Actions Detrimental, and the Harvick Happy Pod, they both kind of had the same reaction, and it was that they wore out really good when the track was hot and the weather was really, really warm. But I mean, they had all the grip in the world during the night race, the All-Star race. But I will say this, it could be a combination of Joey and Team Penske got it absolutely perfect, having 800 laps of testing on the new North Wilkesboro Speedway surface.
Oh, yeah.
Because, I mean, we saw him on the primes the soft tires the entire race, and made him led all but one lap. So they didn't wear out. But we also saw Tyler Reddick and Christopher Bell on the soft tire, and they had strong starts to their runs and then faded rapidly. But in turn, that is my feeling on that is it's probably, okay, well, we'll just adjust. We'll set up the car differently, and it'll work just as well as Joey's, if not better. So it could just be one simple car adjustment, and then they hit the nail on the head, and they can run 400 straight laps and not have to change tires.
Right. I mean, and I would agree with you. I think when it became nighttime, track temps were a little lower. We didn't really see a huge difference. And my whole thing is like, if we're going to test them during the day and we're expecting them to do the same thing at night, don't expect that. Right. But I mean, overall, though, I thought the product that we got was slightly better than last year. I know it was another instance where one guy pretty much led at all. But what was exciting though was there were two cars that were really able to make it from the back to the front, and that was Bubba Wallace and Kyle Larson. So we do know that there is the ability to go to the back to the front. It's a matter of setup, and in this case, it was your tire strategy. What were you able to do? But overall, fine. Wasn't a bad race. It's North Wilkesboro. Like
I think
based on the racing in
good
the
thing,
past.
yeah, for sure. And like compared to last year, when Larson got the lead, he checked out. Absolutely
Yeah.
checked out. Joey couldn't run away from them. He
Right.
kept them at arm's length the entire race, which that even of itself can be annoying. It's like, man, they're right there. They just can't. It was like, it is Coca-Cola 600 weekend, but I think about 2021 when Larson led over 300 laps of that race. And for a lot of that race, he just kept Chase Elliott at arm's length.
Yeah.
And we were all just waiting for Chase to get a run on him, try to make a pass, but couldn't. Just Larson just kept him at a safe distance. And I feel like sometimes that's even more annoying than the leader just checking out, because you're just waiting for something to happen, but nothing happens.
Well, and you're also waiting for maybe a pass to be made, but it still felt like it was difficult. You would get side by side, you might make a slight pass, and then it was almost like that yo-yo effect, that back and forth. There was decent racing in the mid-pack too, I will say, from what we were able to see.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was a total loss. People rated this race really low, like one of the lowest of the year on Jeff Gluck's race poll. I always like to look at those just to gauge the fan reaction. I felt like that wasn't warranted. There were worse races this year, in my opinion, but
it's
so
just
be it.
there was no lead changes. That's the only
There was no lead changes, and a lot of people don't like Joey Logano. Yeah, which I like Joey Logano. I think Joey's pretty cool. Yeah, and then Steve, yeah, just more tire fall off for sure. Hi, Matt. Cool. But no, big storyline from that race though. Let's get into it. Everyone wants to talk about it. Let's chat about it. The fight after the race between Ricky and Kyle Busch on lap 2. They were fighting for position back and forth, and I think there was a misunderstanding on Kyle Busch's part of what actually happened, and then Kyle was like, "Don't like how I was raced," and just turned him. Then after the race, Ricky was like, I'm stuck here. I'm going to stay here and we're going to talk. We're going to take care of it. And yeah, they got into a fight. Ricky started it, threw the first punch, and then crew members got involved. Ricky's dad got involved. Media members fell on the ground. Davey Siegel and Bob was shoved a little bit. It was kind of chaotic. But from that, I will say, came some penalties that were announced today. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. fined $75,000. His father is suspended indefinitely from NASCAR events. The JTG Doherty mechanic was suspended for 8 races, and the JTG Doherty tuner was suspended for 4 races. I can read, I swear. But there was no penalties for Kyle Busch. I have thoughts about this. I've shared my thoughts today. If you guys were watching, yeah. Here's the thing. There needed to be a penalty for this, I think. I know that's an unpopular opinion. I don't appreciate how NASCAR is like, we're going to use this to promo the crap out of this race. It's going to be awesome. And then we're going to say, but you can't fight. That's a contradiction right there. So that's one thing. 2, though, if you look at prior precedent with issues like this, especially when they involve more crew members, bystanders, etc., there's going to be some type of penalty. I don't agree with the amount of the penalty because I believe Seth Egert tweeted something about how this was the heftiest fine for an altercation post-race that NASCAR has ever had. And I think if anything, $25,000 fine, maybe sure, because it coincides with things that we've seen in the past. With Kyle Busch not getting a penalty, though, that's where I don't agree. It was pretty clear it was intent. However, with radio communications, that he wasn't like, oh, I'm going to wreck this guy. So it wasn't clear intent per se. But I guess all in all, not a fan of the penalty. I understand why there was a penalty. But since there's a penalty, I think it should have been less. But I think it was way overdone, in my opinion.
So what frustrates me, I mean, it's back and forth because I can see the argument from both sides.
Right.
Talking with my dad today, it was he couldn't get over the fact that Kyle Busch wasn't penalized or fined for not turning Stenhouse, for junking Stenhouse's car.
No, junked him.
Didn't even give him a chance to finish the race. But again, that's also Kyle was trying to spin him, and Stenhouse overcorrected and junked his own car. So I can see the argument both ways. Kyle was just trying to spin him. Stenhouse's correction caused the end of his day. I can see both sides being upset. Why I'm okay with the fine is because it's one thing for a fight to happen. It's another thing. I mean, every NASCAR fight is premeditated. It's obvious. Like they're just they're angry. It's one thing to just go after the guy, but he like in the media publicly said during the race, I'll be waiting for him. I'm going to go see. I'm going to do something.
He made his intent clear.
Yeah. When you publicly establish your intent, they're going to get you all day for that. So I see where that's an issue. And it's one thing to be a push and shove fight where if it's a push and shove, people get in between them. They push them, they pull them away from each other.
Right.
Fight's over. But when you throw a punch, then it turns into a melee, and then everyone gets involved. And then even then too, like if you get pushed and you don't want to push back, you can just easily put your hands up, turn around, walk away.
Right.
But getting punched is a whole other thing where you're going to want to go back and get yours. So that's why I understand the Ricky Stenhouse Sr. situation where, yeah, sure, he was trying to hold Kyle back. Maybe he wasn't trying to fight Kyle. He was just trying to keep him out of the situation. But Kyle just got punched in the face. He sees nothing but red. Anything that touches him is going to get swung at. It's Kyle Busch, one of the most hot-headed drivers in NASCAR history. And that's not a bad thing. So it's okay to have a temper every once in a while, especially from a guy who has really calmed down over the course of several years. And the last thing I'll say too on the Kyle situation is we finally heard a cry for help when he said, I suck just as bad as you. Yeah. The truth finally came out that he is sick of these cars that he's in right now. And he is not happy with that 8 car right now. So he's been very good at hiding that and just we'll focus ahead to next week. We know what we can work on. We've got work to do, but we can do it. But it all came out. And now it's public that he does not like what he's working with. So,
not happy with the equipment. It's a bad situation. And from the other side of things, people asking, well, is he going to do anything about it at Charlotte? I sure hope not. That'd be real stupid if he did, knowing the position that his team is in right now and points. And
it would remind me if they even start to well, we all know how fate is going to work here. They're going to start side by side. Oh, yeah. I guarantee you they start side by side for this race. But they'll probably, NASCAR may do what they did with Kyle and Harvick and just say, stay away from him. Yeah. Just race everyone however you want to race, but don't touch that 47. So, and then it could be vice versa. 47, stay away from the 8. So, I mean, even though Stenhouse has already said it's easy to say I'm going to wreck you in the heat of the moment, but he doesn't actually mean that. But Kyle, on the other hand, the whole I suck just as bad as you. Bro's got 2 championships, over 200 wins across the board. He doesn't care. Right. He's got nothing to lose now. So we'll see. Yeah.
And again, Kyle, I really do think he should have gotten some sort of penalty. In my opinion, I think he should have or could have. He didn't. So I think, again, if he retaliated at Charlotte, that'd be so dumb.
I was shocked. I was kind of shocked that they didn't send him to the rear for that restart. But, oh well.
It is what it is.
I agree, Matt.
So. Oh, Matt. Yeah. Crazy situation. Definitely made the highlights. You would not believe the comments I got where people were like, wait, who won the All-Star race again? Because this just overshadowed it completely.
Joey himself said that on the Dale Jr. download.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw that. Yeah, he was like, I mean, you can't not open your phone and see the fight. He's like, I still don't know who won the race.
Yeah.
laughed
I
so
mean,
hard.
and if the guy who won it says that, I mean,
Yeah.
it's like, it's crazy. Anywho, yeah, so that's the All-Star race. Talking about that, of course, the controversy with Ricky and Kyle Busch and all this other crazy stuff. Will it carry over to Charlotte? I hope not. If it does, it's dumb. That's just my opinion, but we're going to move on. I doubt it.
The one thing that I'm curious about,
Mm-hmm.
what keeps me interested is Kyle has been dead silent all week. So
I think
I'm just waiting. I'm waiting to see how media bullpen goes, because we're either going to
he's gonna
get
hate that.
there's two options here for Kyle. Option one is everything is great. Option two is I'm here so I don't get fined. We're gonna get one of those two Kyle Bushes.
Oh yeah.
I'm looking forward.
I mean, he's silent this week for a reason. I mean, perfect PR move is silence speaks volumes, but also to avoid saying anything that could get you a fine after something like this, you just don't say anything at all. Don't even risk it. I'm sure, actually, you bring up a good point. Media bullpen, it's very little words from him. I'm sure. He did speak about it, though. I retweeted this. He had an interview of some sort where he talked about the instance today. So he has actually spoken about it.
Okay.
Let me see. Let me see if I can find it real quick. But he's been selective in who he's shared his opinion of it with, I should say.
Yeah.
Which I think smart. If you're going to talk about it with anybody, don't talk about it with like the main NASCAR media, I guess. If I can find what I'm looking for, I'll repost it on my Twitter or X account, I guess. But he did speak about it very lightly today. So, anyhow. Interesting. But race cars. Let's move on to some more charter-ish rumors. I know in my TikTok lives that I've done, even like Twitter DMs, everyone's asking about SHR. What the hell's the situation there? Swear, sorry. But let's talk about SHR, what they have going on right now. Adding $1 to the swear jar. And if you guys have any other questions, topics you want to ask us about, want to discuss, let us know before we get into our 600 preview. Of course, we have a whole weekend of racing to preview. But the current charter rumors is that SHR drivers have voiced their uncertainty about their futures, whether it be in the media bullpen this past weekend, whether it be in one-on-one interviews with select NASCAR media members. They've voiced that they're not sure where they're going to go next year. Apparently, though, according to team employees, SHR executives have indicated that they hope to let employees know what's going on or what's going to happen in the next couple of weeks. The possibility is that they could keep their 2-car Xfinity Series program, as well as the business of supplying Xfinity cars to other teams. This is a report from J-Ski, just so you guys know where my sources are. And with the multiple charters that'll be available, supply is up. Something else from that report from J-Ski's website was that since a new charter agreement has yet to be confirmed, the charters could sell, if SHR decides to sell all of their charters, a few of their charters in the Cup Series, they could sell between 20 million to 30 million, which is of course different than what we've seen from Live Fast, where they sold their one charter for 40 million because, supply is up. It's going to cost a little less per charter. Supply and demand. We're back to like 4th grade economics.
I was going to say, this is grade school social studies, kids.
Essentially, yes, it is exactly that. So again, nothing really new there information wise. It's more confirming what we already know with some more details. But it's just interesting to know. Yeah, answer. Daily Double.
Don't you do that to me. Don't you turn my phrases against me. Would you be sad to see Stewart Haas leave NASCAR?
Here's my thing. When I started watching NASCAR, to me, it was like Kevin Harvick's team. Like that's what it felt like to me. when I started watching and I was in sport. Of course, like Clint Boyer was on the team. Sure, like of course. But the one that made that team successful was Kevin. Since he's no longer there, obviously, first full season of like full-time racing retirement and stuff, it's not the same team. However, we do have some great talent in Noah Gragson, who's showing he can put together great runs for SHR. So, would I miss the team? No, but I don't feel like it has the same identity anymore. It's more so the identity is tied to the individual drivers, but the identity of the team itself feels like it's kind of dispersed. So, I don't think I'd miss the team per se, but I really would hope that the drivers and of course like the employees of SHR find good homes where they can be like utilized to their fullest potential, they can expand their careers, etc. But I would just hate to see the team dissolve and their 4 drivers are panicking. Because even then, like Noah Gragson, he's already had a really crappy start to his Cup Series career where he's lost seats, where he's had to find things last minute, like that. Ryan Preece, he's had an up and down Cup Series career where he feels like he's trying to tread water, trying to stay in a Cup seat sometimes. I mean, but overall, I don't think I'd miss it. I think it'd be weird, but I wouldn't necessarily miss a NASCAR Cup series without SHR.
So, do I think the end is near? Yes.
Yeah.
I do think that they're on their way out. And it's a combination of just inability to compete with the big dogs and overall lack of interest from ownership. Couldn't tell you the last time Gene Haas was at a NASCAR race because he's been busy spending millions of dollars on his Formula One team. And Tony Stewart would rather race cars than go watch other people race his cars, which I can respect that. He's
100%.
very much like he is what Kyle Larson is going to be when he retires, and that is a retired NASCAR driver, part-time race car driver in anything else. It's impossible to give up the seat for a guy like Tony Stewart and Kyle Larson. They just love racing. They can't live without being in a race car. So I get why Tony is rarely at the track to just sit and watch because he'd rather be racing.
Right.
I don't want it to end this way, though, because we're talking about a team that formed at the end of a contract in 2008, going into 2009. And in their first year, they won the All-Star race. Their first win, points paying or not, was $1 million payout in the big show. Yeah. And it was huge. And then they were competitive for a championship that year. 2010, they got another win in Atlanta. And then 2011, they won the championship in a tiebreaker in unbelievable fashion by the driver owner. And then Harvick joins the team, and they turned into a juggernaut.
Yeah.
And they were one of the best teams in NASCAR for about, I'd say, 6 to 7 years. They were one of the top teams in NASCAR. For them to just fall out just because we don't want to pay this money and our owners don't care. I don't want it to end like that.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
it's looking like that's going to be the way it ends.
And you see, like, they've lost major sponsors with Harvick leaving. I mean, Busch Beer is gone. Eric Almirola decided to leave, but even with that, like, Smithfield left. Like, it doesn't feel like there's a big interest in their program by even other companies. So for them to still be alive, one, I would say you're right on the nose where it's like the ownership really has to care. And I don't doubt that they care. I believe that they care, or else they wouldn't have run this year, I don't think. But it's, do they care enough to keep things going in a new direction where NASCAR is going? Marketing looks totally different than it did like 5 years ago, even 3 years ago. To keep your program alive. The money that you put into this is a lot different. The way that you're bringing in talent is very different. You have to be able to keep up with all these changes. And I don't think there's enough time there by Gene Haas, Tony Stewart to be able to put in time to build a really good program. And I think this is a good comment here. The other factor is a bunch of other teams have stepped up their programs, right? Rick Ware is picking things up with their partnership with RFK. I mean, people are finding ways to get ahead. And I don't see SHR doing that. They haven't been doing that. So I don't want it to end that way either. I don't want it to just kind of be like like they suck. Bye. Like I don't want that at all.
Yeah.
But I do feel like, at least for the Cup Series endeavor that they have going on, they don't have enough oomph anymore, I guess, to sustain that successfully. I think right now they're losing more than they're gaining. And in the current economic climate within the sport and in general, it's not a smart business move. So,
Yeah.
yeah. But they have winning potential in Xfinity. We've seen it. And if that's profitable and if they still want to go ahead and do that, go for it. Right.
Right.
So I don't know. Then the question is, where did those charters go? There's rumors and speculation as to where they go. They kind of dissolve into the other teams that we currently have. Which is, then I just started thinking too, like if SHR leaves, is there another team that could come into Cup to fill its place? Do we keep the same field that we have right now? No new teams come in. Like there's a whole lot of just questions that come along with that we don't have answers to. So
right.
It's crazy.
Good times.
Yeah, good times. Wow. How depressing.
It's another good point by Danny. Just back-to-back years of just getting absolutely hammered in penalties too. Doesn't help either.
It doesn't help either. And I don't know. Again, we don't know if the penalties were a lack of attention to detail, if it was trying to get ahead and getting caught. Like, we don't know. But even then, like the oversight whereby the foam in was it the door panel or something like that, for Ryan Preece's car a few weeks ago caught on fire and he had to retire from the race because the car wasn't good enough. And then they came out and said, like, this was close to happening on all of our cars. I'm like, how can that be? So it feels like everyone's heart isn't in it. They're trying to stay afloat. Obviously, that's just my thoughts from the outside looking in. But yeah, just back-to-back penalties don't help either. So
no, they do not.
Dang. Well, if you guys have any other topics you want us to discuss, put them in the comments. But we are going to move on to our preview of the Coke 600. Let me get out the PowerPoint. Hold on. You all know I love my PowerPoints. I love it. It's so fun. Okay. This is the right slide? Yes, no, maybe. Here we go.
Hey.
Perfect.
Hello. All right. Yeah. So this is our projected top 10 for the Coke 600. The one thing I want to emphasize at the beginning regarding 10th place with Christopher Bell and William Byron. William Byron was 11th on my board, Bell 10th, but they actually had identical scores for our ranking. So just keep that in mind. And while you can trade them back and forth, I honestly would have put Byron above him. I just noticed this now. But Byron's numbers are just a little bit better than Bell's in the Coke 600. So by all means, keep Bell 10th if you want, or put Byron 10th. They're interchangeable. But here's what we've got in terms of our leaderboard. Martin Truex Jr. is our only multiple-time full-time driver that has won the Coke 600 multiple times. Jimmy Johnson's won it many times too, but he is part-time, not racing for points. We did not include him on this list. But Martin Truex Jr. won it in 2016 this might be wrong, but I believe it is the most dominant performance in Coke 600 history. From pole position, he led 392 laps in that race, and it was after weeks of being the best and getting beat in the end. Finally finished it off in probably the most dominant way possible. But yeah, Martin Truex Jr. led in wins. He also has led the most laps 4 times in the Coke 600. 4 different times Truex led the most laps, and he did so in both of his wins. About 116 laps were led in his 2019 victory. Most important and most impressive about that 2019 win, actually had a tire failure in that race and hit the wall. And immediately got that part of pit road. They made adjustments. They fixed it, got him back out there, and he still won the event. So that's a huge bravo to that 19 team. And I mean, what better place to get your first win of the year than the Coca-Cola 600, adding another crown jewel to the list for him. He's already got 2 Coke 600s. Why not add a third? This would be a really good place for him to turn the bad luck around, because don't get me wrong, he's been good this year. He has been very good. He's I believe, Taylor, correct me if I'm wrong, he's our highest driver in points that hasn't won.
Yes, I
So
believe
yeah,
so. Let me double check that while you're
they've
chatting.
been super consistent, super competitive, just haven't gotten the win yet. So I really think Martin Truex Jr. is a really solid pick for this weekend. Denny Hamlin is the 2022 Coke 600 winner. Actually, Miss Taylor,
You're correct, by the way.
if I may, here is our 2022 Coke 600 car. So proof
Beautiful. Love it.
we were there. I do have to apologize, Taylor. Kansas this year surpasses that 600 for best race I've ever seen.
It's okay. It
But
was so good. I forgive you.
but that's a good number two. Being at that 600 in 2022 is phenomenal. But anyways, Denny has one win, two pole positions back in 2022 when he won the show, and in 2013. He does have one DNF to his credit. That's something that kept him from being at the top. Another huge kudos to Truex. No DNFs in his entire career in the Coke 600. So
Impressive.
his numbers were so much better than everyone else here. So it was by far and away, he's our number one. But yeah, one DNF for Denny. So again, Denny's been running the Coke 600 since 2006, and he's only failed to finish once. And that was because he got junked by Chase Elliott last year. So if you want to keep him out of the show, you have to intentionally wreck him. Remember that, kids. The one thing I will say, though, about Denny, while he does have 6 top 5s and 5 top 10s, in his whole career, he's only led about 200 laps in the 600. So he's a guy that'll be around in contention, but don't expect him to lead a ton of laps. Watch, he'll change that this year and dominate the show. But just keep that in mind. Kyle Busch, if he didn't lead us in DNFs with 4, you could argue that Kyle might be our number one guy. And by golly, does he need to be this weekend? He really needs to turn it around. But dominated the show in 2018 in the red, white, and blue M&M's car. Shout out. Has 2 poles in 2008 and 2018 when he won it. He does lead us in laps led in the Coke 600 of active drivers, 1,061 laps led in the 600 alone. And he led the most laps twice, including his win in 18. And he also leads us in total laps completed, 7,499. He has not missed a Coke 600 since 2004 when he made his debut in the 84 car. So he has been around. He's been around for a very long time. A lot of people forget that. He's been around for a very long time. But again, 4 DNFs does not help him. 9 top 5s and 3 top 10s. 9 top 5s for Kyle Busch in the Coke 600. So, I mean, it's just incredible numbers for him. But again, leading the way with 4 DNFs, that really hurt him.
Oh, yeah.
Brad Keselowski won the 600 in 2020 in a race where a lot of people say that would have been Chase Elliott's to win, but
it's true.
A late caution gave Keselowski the W. Started on pole position in 2011. He has 3 DNFs, but 4 top 5s and 2 top 10s on the list. And then 5th is Joey Logano. Now, Joey's never won the 600, but with 3 top 5s, 2 top 10s, and 1 DNF, having run the 600 every year since 2009, goes to show you he'll complete all the laps. He is more than likely going to finish the race and get you a good result with that. So that's what helped Joey get up to 5th on the board. Tyler Reddick is an interesting one because last year we saw what could have been a good winning the race and one of the best saves I've ever seen too. But he has, in 4 starts in the Coke 600, he's never finished outside the top 10. So he has 1 top 5, 3 top 10s. So in 4 starts in the 600, he's never finished outside the top 10. That gives him a Cup Garage leading 7th average finish. So that is
I will say he's my winning pick this weekend. He's the guy I would look for.
It's a good choice. It's definitely a good choice. He led about 53 laps or 50 so laps in the 600 last year. And again, in 4 starts, 4 top 10s, no DNFs. So a really good choice there in the 45 car. And what better time to win than the week your shop opens to the public. So
Got
it
it.
would be a really cool grand opening to bring that 600 car into the main lobby. So
For sure.
just putting out there. And as fate would have it, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. joins Kyle Busch in the top 10, seventh on the board. Fun fact, Taylor, you may not know this. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. made his NASCAR Sprint Cup Series debut in the 2011 Coke 600, subbing in for a sick or injured Trevor Bayne in the
I
Motorcraft 21 car.
I did not know that. Huh.
Yes, there
Cool.
you go. The more you
Okay.
know.
The
So
more you
that's when he
know.
made his debut. But since 2011, he didn't run it in 2012, but became full time in 13 in the 17 car. He has one top five, three top tens. He has never failed to finish the Coke 600, which helps him out a lot. No DNFs, and he has 12 career starts. So 12 attempts, no DNFs. That's really solid. That'll get you in our top 10. Kyle Larson, this is an interesting one that he's eighth on our board, considering he
Yeah.
dominated the 2021 600. He's got 379 laps led. A lot of that came in 2021. He led over 300 laps in that absolute spanking. Won that race from pole position as well. But he's got three DNFs, three of them.
Yeah.
That'll hurt you. And also, listen, I keep doubting the guy and he keeps proving me wrong. So I'm just going to say it so he can prove me wrong and I can witness history. I don't think he can win one of the two races. I don't think he can come from Indy and win the 600. I just don't see it happening. But prove me wrong, Larson, because you've done that a
Yeah.
lot. Ninth on the board is Alex Bowman. One top five, three top tens. He led the most laps in 2020, has 177 laps led in the 600 total, but led the most laps in 2020. And he also has no DNFs. So just consistency is key here with our list. And Bowman has been a guy that can really he can really bring home a good run for that 48 team this weekend. Expect that 48 car.
Are you struggling to say it?
I don't know because not gonna doubt him or anything. I don't see him winning it.
Same.
But I can see him being in contention. I can see him being up there, late race restart, can get himself a good finish. And then again, interchangeable for 10th, Christopher Bell or William Byron. Bell has one top five, one top 10, no DNFs, and he's been running every year since 2020. He, like Reddick, has 4 starts in the 600, no DNFs. But William Byron does lead us in average start with an average start of 7th in 6 attempts. So that's why I kind of have him on that threshold of maybe. He also has 2 pole positions. So
Okay.
I really think you can interchange both of them. And I would personally give the nod to Byron, but the stat sheet said Bell, so I put Bell in 10th. But I would honestly more than happy to swap Byron in for 10th.
I have a few questions, as you know.
Buescher, he will finish 19th.
Okay.
I've got Buescher 19th. The one that was actually kind of impressive, Zane Smith ran last year in the 38 car, started 29th, finished 10th.
Right.
So this could be a good weekend for Zane to really try to turn his season around because it has been a rough start to his rookie year.
Oh, God, yeah. What about Blaney?
So Ryan Blaney is 12th. That is a good one.
Okay.
Blaney is 12th on the board. An average start of 13.8, but where it hurts him, average start 13.8, average finish 20.1. If I look really quickly, yeah, he has the win, yeah, but he only has 2 top 5s, no top 10s.
Right.
Best starting spot of 7th. 169 laps led. A lot of that came last year. He led the most laps last season. In over 3,100 laps run, he has 3 DNFs. So that 3 DNF really hurts him.
Yeah, 2022. I remember that one for sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, that one hurt.
Yeah, that hurt a lot.
Looking for some other ones. Chase Elliott is 13th.
Okay.
He doesn't have any pole positions or wins, but he does have 2 second-place finishes, 3 top 5s, and a top 10. I'm guessing DNFs is what's going to get him here. Yeah, 3 DNFs.
Probably. Yeah.
So,
And
yeah,
you
that
mentioned
hurts him.
with Larson, obviously attempting to do the double. There's a few things that are going to make his day pretty difficult. Weather is one of those things. Indy is looking to have a little bit of rain, unfortunately. So obviously when weather is going to impact, it could delay a race, it could stop things. That's going to make him getting to the 600 on time a little bit more difficult. I will say though, the concern about rain for this year's Coke 600 looks to be subsiding a little bit. A lot of the rain looks like it's going to happen like in the morning most of these days. Yeah, knock on wood. I'm not going to jinx it again this year. I refuse. Friday, there's some chance of rain throughout the day. Saturday is now where things look to be moved, but it's towards the morning mostly. So look, everything looks like it's going to be fine for the 600. So it's going to be fine. We're going to be good. So that'll be good. Yeah, we'll be fine. Weather changes fast. And then the other thing too, of course, there's a report that Donald Trump could be going to the 600 this year, which could impact air travel. So that could impact Larson's ability to get here quickly. So NASCAR did say that they're going to try their best to accommodate and everything like that within reason. That's the key word, is within reason. So obviously you can't push back the race like an hour and a half, 2 hours. Like that's not fair to the fans, and that just throws everything off for everybody. But regardless, it should be a great weekend. I did want to ask, Dom, do you have winning picks for Truck and Xfinity? What are your thoughts? I think for me, Truck is a little bit more difficult this year, but Xfinity feels like a given.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, the last 2 years we've seen Junior Motorsports win the Xfinity race. And with Justin Allgaier winning Darlington, I could really see them winning again. I'd like to see Sammy Smith get it turned around. I don't see it happening. I don't see him winning it. Can you
imagine?
I can see Sam Mayer stealing one. I can see him stealing a win. But maybe Allgaier. But I'm trying to think who I want to go with here. Do we know what Gibbs' lineup is? Actually, no. Give me Chase Elliott. Chase is in the show. In the
Hendrick. That's right.
Chase is in the Hendrick 17. Give me Chase.
Yeah, Chase Elliott. Because my for sure bet was Justin Allgaier. I did think about Sam Mayer maybe stealing one. My thought process was, could you imagine what if this is the race that Brandon Jones somehow turns it around? Can you imagine?
I can't actually.
So, I mean, I think it's going to be like a Hendrick or Junior Motorsports.
Another good one would be Jesse Love.
Jesse Love, that's another one for sure. I wonder if Sheldon Creed.
No.
I don't know if this is a good weekend for, but you never know. I do think, though, it's going to be a good weekend for the Chevys and Xfinity for sure. I mean, they've done great at this track the past few years. So we'll see. That's a good point. Ty Dillon is going to be in the 50. The Money Team rebranded to, what was it? Amerivet.
Team Amerivet.
Team Amerivet. So he will be racing in the 50 this weekend for the Cup Series. So pretty interesting there. For the Truck Series, here's the thing. It's been, in my opinion, inconsistent winners the past 2 years. Because 2022 it was Ross Chastain and like a one-off event. Last year was Ben Rhodes. So it felt kind of like last year was a weird year for him. So for me, this track breeds inconsistency for the trucks. I'm still, in my opinion,
I've got the perfect pick then.
Okay, who is it? Are we thinking the same?
Stuart Friesen.
Okay.
Stuart Friesen will win.
All right. God, he needs a win.
He does.
Rough.
He does. That team works too hard to not be winning.
What about, speaking of drivers?
Of Rhodes, I'm glad you mentioned that he won in 2023. Another one we could show off.
That's beautiful. I love that truck so much.
It is a good looking.
Not Stuart Friesen, but Grant Enfinger.
Yeah, I can see Grant doing it. That CR7 Motorsports team is really turned around since he got there. And I mean, that's
Yeah.
also the power of sponsorship dollars with Champion Power Equipment. So
Right.
kudos to them for buying into Grant and going with
Yeah.
him, the CR7. So they ran good at Kansas. They had a good North Wilkesboro too. So if they can ride that momentum to Charlotte, that'd be huge for them. But I've got two people in mind. I think Stuart Friesen is my surprise winner, but I'd love to see a Rajah victory. Would
That would
love
be
to see
so
Rajah
awesome.
win. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd be all for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. I mean, the other drivers I think of that are always in contention for a win in my mind, they're the givens, is what?
I'm just going to say this for Matt because I know he's listening. Rajah Caruth, the heir apparent to the 48.
The sponsorship's there. Just saying. But no, we could see Rajah win this weekend. I also think about Christian Eckes is always like a forgiven like winner every single weekend. He's somebody who you can count on to get the win every weekend. And then even to Corey Heim time. Yeah, there you go. So
he's on fire right now. So I wouldn't be shocked if he went. What would that be? Okay, so that would be 3 for 4. 3 wins last 4 races. Yeah, because he didn't win Darlington.
Yeah.
Could have won Darlington too. He was really good that night too.
True. Yeah.
So
no, it's for me the championship is between those two. That's what it is in my mind.
Heim and Eckes.
Yeah, that's my opinion. Yeah. Watching the Truck Series this year.
For sure. No, for sure. Yeah, those two are racing really, really hard. Not in a bad way, obviously.
Eckes they've been respectful, which has been great.
Eckes got 2 wins. Heim's got 3 wins. I think that Tricon truck is just a little bit faster than Eckes, but Eckes is a bulldog when he gets in the lead. It's like he'll play. He plays really good deal. I mean, if he can hold Kyle Busch off at Bristol, he's got really good racecraft. So I'm excited.
And that's my thing with Christian Eckes is
fight.
Right. Like he has lesser equipment, but you see him racing against like Kyle Busch during some of these weekends when he's in the 7 and he's able to hold even with him. And that tells me his racecraft is elevated. Not saying that Corey Himes isn't, but Eckes is making a lot out of less equipment and he's able to hold his own and compete with someone like Corey Himes. So it should be a good weekend for Truck. Obviously Xfinity, it's always a banger of a race. I'm excited for it. And then of course the Cup race, hopefully.
Xfinity is?
Yeah, it's always a great race.
I mean, well, listen, 2022, we both almost died from heat exhaustion.
Yeah, that wasn't that fun, but it was a great battle between Barry and Allgaier.
It was after the 600, so we were just like,
oh, we were done.
It's almost over. I'm so tired.
In general, though, the Xfinity Series puts on great races.
900 miles of racing in one day.
I got the T-shirt. I survived the Charlotte 900.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I had to have it. A little memento. But should be a really fun weekend of racing. Very excited about it. Sure. But that'll do it from us here, of course. The entire ATYL crew. This is the first time we're all meeting in person.
Yes, I'm so excited.
So excited. So, because I've met, obviously, Dom and Adam. We typically, because Adam's in South Carolina or North Carolina, like we tend to see each other. And then since Ben's like in Kentucky, and then Rob will sometimes come in for like the Mid Ohio races. Like we've met each other. We've never been together.
Question.
Answer.
Who is your pick to win the Indianapolis 500?
Oh God, this is a great one. Yeah, that's a big race this weekend. Besides, Monaco, of course, but. I mean, Indy, come on.
Anyways,
yeah, Verstappen, like we all know. But for the 500, God, that is so. I would love to see Scotty Mack get it done from the pole. I really would. I honestly do think if Newgarden could go back to back, that would be a statement. Obviously, the NASCAR gal is cheering on the NASCAR guy with Kyle Larson, but I think it's not a long shot for him to make it happen. But I think a lot of things have to go right for that to happen.
Guy I expect to win is Newgarden. I can really see him going back to back because, I mean, the whole Penske fleet, like they're taking it personally this year.
Oh, they are. As I should. Maybe a little bit.
They're like, if you're going to take our win away from St. Petersburg, we're just going to destroy you in the only race that matters. I expect Newgarden to repeat. The guy I'd like to see win, Colton Herta.
Oh, God, I would love that. That or Pato. I think Pato could do it, but Colton did well last year.
I think Herta winning would be really cool. Because I mean that dude's a racer. He is so good behind the wheel.
He's next level. I think maybe a surprise winner, Kyle Kirkwood, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Potentially.
I
I
think
see
that's
it
gonna
being a
happen.
surprise.
I can see that in a fuel mileage race. I
Yeah.
can see him winning it.
Again, surprise. It depends on how everything works out.
And then Forza Ferrari for the Monaco Grand Prix.
Yeah.
I'll take
As
either
always.
one. I could care less who wins, as long as it's a Ferrari.
So,
But
as long as it's Ferrari, we'll see. But yeah, I'm excited. God, that's going to be a fun morning. We're going to have to all coordinate how we're going to watch all these races, where we're going to be, because we're all going to have to watch the races together. So, goodness gracious, that'll be a long day, but a fun day. So yeah. But yeah, we'll all be at the track this weekend. So if you see us at the track, if you're going, stop us and say, hey, we literally don't mind. So say hi. Chat racing with us. We're very excited. But that is it from us tonight on the live stream.
You have to say that, James.
Hey, no, James, though, has a point. They will find a way to lose. They typically always do.
So sad, but so true.
It's so sad.
Oh, God.
But make sure for all your NASCAR news this weekend, make sure to go to tobychristie.com. Ben Branscombe will be covering the ARCA race at the track this weekend. Toby Christie will be there working the race too, getting you guys coverage. Of course, we'll be in the infield and stuff, getting some of the fan reaction, some of that type of content. So it'll be a heavy content weekend for the Toby Christie team, but make sure to check us out there. Of course, above theolaline.com to get your ATYL merch. Also to learn more about us, the team, what we're doing, etc. All of our social media platforms are there as well, but they're also on the screen for you here. And also a friendly reminder that spiders are our friends. They really do help out the environment. And yeah, I think every time you show that note, Dom, I think I get a little less afraid of spiders. And then I see a spider and then I'm equally as afraid as I was before. So I don't know if it's helping.
It's all about returning the favor. They don't kill you, so why should we kill them?
That's fair. That's fair. That's true. Well, everyone, remember, spiders are our friends. Have a safe Memorial weekend. Spend time with family, friends, enjoy some racing. The greatest weekend in racing every single year, in my opinion. And thanks all so much. We'll see you at the track and have a good